Good afternoon.
Hi,
Please state your full name and spell your last name.
my name is Jeanette Gonzalez, Gonzalez.
What is your occupation?
I sort mail at the post office.
How long have you been doing that?
Since I was for 9 years. I've been doing that for 9 years.
Do you recall the evening of November 7th, 2017?
I do. I was there.
At some point in the evening, did you go to the Fat Cat Bar in Springfield?
Yes, actually, I go there often.
Who did you meet that night at the bar?
I was there with my brother, Reg, and with Jolly. It was the three of us.
And who's Jolly?
Jolly's been in a relationship with my brother now for a while. They're dating.
How long have you, sorry. Okay. How long have you known Jolly?
Forever. We knew each other in first grade. We went to school together at the Willie Ross School.
What type of school is a Willie Ross school?
It's a residential school for the deaf.
Did you meet Jolly before your brother Reg did?
Yes?
Is Jolly in the courtroom today?
Yes? That's her sitting over there.
What color clothing is Jolly wearing today?
We would stipulate identity.
Well, the court will accept that stipulation and no.
When you arrived at the bar with your brother and Jolly, did you notice anything about Jolly's attitude?
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis?
Speculation, characterization of his attitude, her attitude.
I'll overrule it.
Well, we were all drinking, and, nothing new really as far as Jolly's mood. Always kind of agitated and grumpy.
He wasn't particularly grumpy that day?
Yeah, seems so.
So after you arrived at the bar, What did Jolly do, if anything?
So as I said, Reg, Jolly, and I were at the bar. We were drinking, playing pool, throwing darts, you know, the types of things that they have there at the bar, just hanging out, having fun.
What were you drinking?
What was I drinking? I was drinking beer, I think. Yeah, it was beer.
What was Reg drinking?
I don't remember. I don't know if there was any drinking on Reg's part that night. I don't remember seeing him drink.
What about Jolly?
I think it was like 3 or 4 beers that Jolly had.
At some point, was there an argument when you were at the bar?
Yep, nothing new. Like I said before, pretty much the same old, same old. They're, you know, always arguing, fighting over something.
Who had an argument?
Reg and Jolly, it was both of them.
Did the argument lead to anything?
Could you rephrase that? I don't know if I understand what you mean.
At, during the argument, was there any physical interaction?
Yes. I mean, there was a lot that went down that night. There was pushing and slapping and yelling, and there was a knife involved, and I was afraid for my life.
Who pushed who?
Jolly pushed Reg, and, you know, I tried to get my brother out of there. It just didn't work.
Who slapped who?
Jolly started it. Jolly started it. He slapped. She slapped.
I'm gonna hold the questioning there. Counsel, do we have an issue?
May I just have one moment, Your Honor? Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I just want the defendant to understand that while the court understands that there may be emotional times, it cannot tolerate any type of outburst of that nature.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Counsel, whenever you're ready, you may proceed.
Did you see who had a knife?
Jolly.
What did he do with it? Sorry.
And Jolly had the knife and he tries to use it on my brother, and I tried to get my brother away.
Were you able to get your brother away?
No.
What happened?
So what I did is I stepped away and utilized the relay service, video relay service, to call 911 to get some help. And it took a while.
Did help finally come?
Yeah, police officers came, yeah. I mean, they helped take care of the situation, yep.
Did you speak with police at that time?
I told them what happened and I told them what I saw.
How were you able to do that?
I used pen and paper, writing things down with the police back and forth.
At some point, did you go to the police station after that?
Yeah, I had to go file a witness report.
And did you do that in writing?
No, there was an interpreter there, of course.
I have with me what's Commonwealth's Exhibit Number 1, which was previously introduced. Do you recognize this?
Yes, that's my brother.
And is this how he looked on the evening of November 7th at the Fat Cat Bar and Grill?
Oh, yeah.
Do you observe anything about his appearance?
I mean, it looks like he was punched in the eye.
Do you know who punched him in the eye?
Yeah, Jolly did.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
The direct examination having been completed, I think this would be a good opportunity to take a short recess.
Thank you.
Ms. Gonzalez, you and your brother and Jolly would go to the Fat Cat Bar as many as 2 and 3 times a week, isn't that correct?
No, not that often, maybe 2-3 times a month. That'd be it.
I have a moment.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 or 3 times a month you would go to the bar, and when you're there, you would, you said, play pool and darts.
Yeah.
And
And we'd also, I mean, be drinking there, we'd be meeting new friends there, that kind of thing. Yeah.
and so, and generally, you would have drinks while you were there. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it was your testimony that on this particular night of the November 15th, that you said you'd had some beers?
Well, November 15th. I don't know what night you're talking about.
So the night that the incident happened with your brother and Jolly, that was November 15th. Is that correct?
I thought it was the 7th, November 7th.
Report says November 15th. Oh, yeah, November 7th. I'm sorry, I misspoke. November 7th, 2017, you had drinks that night.
Yes.
And you were drinking beers?
That's right, I had a beer.
Okay. Well, so let me ask you about that. You testified earlier that you didn't see your brother drinking anything that night?
Not that I saw. No, I didn't see him drink anything.
Were you sitting all at the same table, gathered around the same table playing pool and darts? Is that correct?
I mean, the three of us went together, and then we were playing pool together, but we were also like hanging out with other people too.
And you testified a moment ago that when you go to the bar, that you usually go for drinks and to play pool and so forth. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
But on this particular night, you didn't see your brother drinking at all? That's your testimony?
To be honest, I really don't think he was drinking that night. He's kind of like, and mind you, we don't always drink at that bar, not every single time, but that night I didn't see him drinking. I don't remember him drinking.
Didn't he in fact buy pitchers of beer for your table?
I did have one beer. I just don't recall drinking from his pitcher.
So is it your testimony that your brother had a pitcher of beer that night?
No, I don't recall that at all. I had a beer, Jolly had a beer. That's what I remember.
So it's your testimony that you were drinking and Jolly was drinking, but your brother, what, drinking water?
I mean, he could have been having a soda for all I know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, bars have other things other than alcohol.
Well, let's hope. So Reg is your brother, correct?
Yes.
And you hang out with him and you socialize with him. So it was fair to say you're pretty close, correct?
Yeah, of course. He's my brother.
And you wouldn't like to see something bad happen to him. Is that fair to say?
Of course not.
Well, and you
He's my
would
brother.
agree that if he were arrested, that would be something you wouldn't want to see happen to your brother.
Right.
And, but it's not illegal to drink beer, is it?
Oh,
So if he had been drinking that night, there wouldn't have been anything wrong with that necessarily.
no, not necessarily. Right, sure.
But it's still your testimony that with you guys, who he would go out with and have beers and do that regularly, that you don't have any recollection that he had anything to drink that night at all.
Objection,
Basis?
asked and answered.
Overruled.
I don't know why you keep asking me that question, because I've already told you he wasn't drinking that night.
So now your answer is not that you don't remember if he was drinking, it's that he wasn't drinking.
I feel like you keep asking me the same question. Yeah.
But my question is your answer now that you don't remember if he was drinking or that he was not drinking?
I can't remember.
Now, you testified that earlier that when things got heated between Jolly and your brother, that there was a lot of pushing and hitting and activity. Did your brother ever put his hands on Jolly?
They were fighting. Like I said, they were always fighting. There's nothing new. There was arguing, and I was trying to pull my brother out of that, and it's a toxic relationship. I was trying to get him out of that.
Let's talk about that. So,
And Jolly, he was the one who had the knife.
okay, but before that, this argument that they had, it was mutual, wasn't it?
What do you mean by mutual?
They both put their hands on each other. Is that fair to say?
When I walked in on them, they were already fighting. I had just gone to the bathroom, come back out, and they were already in the middle of it. And it was, I thought just a verbal argument, and it had escalated. It had become something physical then.
So is it your testimony that you didn't actually see the beginning of the physical fight?
So as I said, I went to the bathroom. But remember, their fighting is nothing new, so I didn't really think anything of it. I went to the bathroom, came back, and it had become physical.
So just to restate my question, to make sure I understand, you did not see the beginning of the physical fight that night?
I saw the beginning where Jolly pushed Reg, and I tried to get Reg out of there, and it didn't work, and then it escalated.
So your testimony is that things became physical between your brother and Jolly, and you tried to get your brother away, and so then you went to the restroom?
When I went to the bathroom and came back, they were already arguing. Nothing new. I didn't think that the arguing was going to escalate, but it did. It became physical. That's when Jolly pushed Reg. I tried to get Reg out of there, and it didn't work.
Okay, so, you testified earlier that, that Jolly, punched your brother in the eye. Now, is that what you mean when you say he pushed him?
It started with the push, it escalated, there was a punch, and it went down that road.
Okay, so now it's your testimony that, so, sorry, strike that, let me go back. Your testimony before was that Jolly pushed your brother and you got in between them to break it up, and you didn't mention anything about a punch at that time. Do you remember testifying that way?
Objection,
Basis?
form of the question.
Well, it's cross-examination, so I'll overrule it.
For the interpreting team, can you repeat the question?
You testified, I can try. You testified earlier that Jolly pushed your brother and that you then got in between them to try and break it up. But now, do you remember testifying to that?
Yes,
And now it's your testimony, though, that Jolly pushed him, and at that same time, she also punched your brother. Is that now your testimony?
yes,
Well, let me ask you this: was your brother trying to hit Jolly back?
I mean, this all started with Jolly, well, it started with Reg wanting to date, I mean, not really date, but it started with Reg liking this other person, and Jolly thinking that Reg was actually going to go ahead and date that person. This person's name is Patrice, and, you know, it just all started from that.
Okay, so You testified earlier that this kind of altercation between Reg and Jolly has happened in the past. Do you remember testifying to that?
Yes, this always happens.
And you've seen your brother become violent with Jolly in the past, haven't you?
No,
So these toxic altercations that you described earlier, they've always been nothing but verbal.
yes,
So I take that to mean then that you've never seen Jolly be physically violent with your brother either before that night.
I don't live with them, so I don't see what goes on when I'm not there. But their arguing and their fighting is nothing new.
Well, you'd agree that arguing and fighting might mean different things. When you
I think it's the same.
Okay, well, so an argument is words, right?
I think it's the same.
An argument is generally words, is that correct?
If you say so.
And fighting sometimes becomes physical, is that fair to say?
Sure, right.
Okay, so when you say arguing and fighting, you've seen them be physically violent toward one another in the past, is that fair to say?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. No further questions.
Thank you. Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so we have completed this witness.